All right, welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk to you guys about Jonathan Martinez versus Cub Swanson, the co-main event of the evening, despite any fucking idiot in a Kangol hat who told you that it was Askarov versus Royval. Sorry about that. Moving on. This is the co-main event, and it's totally worthy because Cub Swanson is one of the bigger names on the card. He has headlined a UFC event in the past, and here he is. He's still trying to reinvent himself, getting close to 40, dropping down in weight for the first time ever. Well, dropping down to bantamweight for the first time ever. He's dropped weight before, but still, here he is dropping down in weight, really trying to reinvent himself. I think the plan is to hunt for a title at 135. I know he's got to get a lot of work done, but that's got to be the plan. It's not like he's just getting smaller or he feels like cutting weight. So this guy is still hungry, which is awesome because, you know, you see him celebrate a win like he had over Darren Elkins with his family and whatever. And it's an awesome moment. I know all fighters celebrate things like that all the time of victories, but it just seemed like he's about to retire. I thought, right off into the sunset. He's not going anywhere. He's sucking weight to go after a title. You know, I love it because what the hell else are you going to do? So Cub Swanson, well, you know, maybe retire and, you know, enjoy time with the family. He'll get to that eventually. And it's good that his family's accepted the fight game. They're embracing it because Cub Swanson's been on the shitty end of submissions, knockouts, everything. You know, he's been through it all. So here he is in the twilight of his career, dropping weight, taking on Jonathan Martinez, who is I hesitate to use the word surging, but he's definitely on the rise as a bantamweight, and he's looking very good lately. He had that one distinct setback to Davy Grant, which was forgivable because Davy Grant is a weird striker, and he throws everything into his strikes, and he goes out of his way to make sure they're unorthodox strikes from weird angles with wide hooks, and the perfect bomb landed on Jonathan Martinez, who was absolutely in that fight, and I think he won the first round. And that's what you get, you know, whatever, it happens. But I don't distrust his chin, Jonathan Martinez. But still, I think he's a guy that's been really comfortable fighting a lot of low-level guys in the UFC, and he's made them look pretty bad. This guy generally kicks a lot of ass. He might have had a tough round with Alejandro Perez, but lately he's been kicking everyone's ass 30-27. And this is a fight where, I mean, there's a lot of wrinkles to it. You have Cub Swanson coming down, Cub Swanson approaching 40, yada, yada. But if everything goes according to plan with the weight cut, and Cub Swanson shows up, and there's nothing that's particularly different about him. Oh, he can't take body shots at 135 or whatever. If there's nothing like that going on, I think this is going to be a very close fight, and I don't think the odds reflect that. Cub Swanson is a guy that he's tough to, you know, he's not tough to dominate, but again, that's at 145. Shane Burgos, although I think that was a split decision, but Shane Burgos, I thought, largely got the better of him, you know, almost dominated him. Not really, but he clearly won the fight anyway. I thought that wasn't a robbery or anything close to that. But Shane Burgos is much bigger. He's 6 foot tall almost. He's 5'11", I think. And Renato Moicano, who went through Cub Swanson, again, he's 6 foot tall or damn close to it. And, you know, those are bigger, stronger guys at featherweight, obviously. And my point is, those guys don't exist at bantamweight. And Jonathan Martinez, I don't think he's going to be able to run through Cub like those guys did. As far as winning a decision, you know, Shane Burgos is one of the guys that cleanly outstruck Cub. And again, he's gigantic. I think Cub will absolutely, just with reach and height, be within range to counter Jonathan Martinez. And he won't be overwhelmed physically, because the big difference in the Burgos fight was the power, in my opinion. You know, his power won him the decision. I'm not even sure what the numbers were, the striking numbers. But Jonathan Martinez, I don't see winning on power, winning a decision on power here. I think, if anything, Cub Swanson wins the decision on power. He shows the harder strikes. And as far as the first knockout, look, Jonathan Martinez has great kicks. And I'm sure he's seen that loss with Cub Swanson to a Giga Chikadze, whatever. I go back and forth on that. But Jonathan Martinez with his kicks, you know, I'm sure he'll be hunting to the body. And I'm sure Cub knows that at this point. But as far as someone's chin failing, I think with Cub Swanson and his, you know, his striking and Jonathan Martinez getting cracked by Davey Grant, Jonathan Martinez would go down first. I think the knockout would go to Cub first. As far as the submission game, well, Cub's been submitted more, but only to great guys, and Cub's a black belt with great grappling on his own. So I just think Cub would generally win the positional battle there, you know, if it becomes a grappling fight. But then on the feet, you know, it's going to be a much closer fight. These guys are the same height. They have a very similar reach. Cub Swanson's tricky and deceptive. He's a guy who will explode more. You know, save up his energy and explode more. He fights different tactically than Jonathan Martinez, who's more slow and steady, footwork and chopping it down. But I don't think it's going to go Jonathan Martinez's way. You know, and the reason I'm inclined to think that is the odds. Cub Swanson's a plus 165. You know, either guy could win a decision, but I think Cub Swanson has the better chance of putting Jonathan Martinez away. So I like Cub Swanson at plus 165. I bet on it. I think, you know, it's not like a lock by any means, but it's too enticing because Cub Swanson, he's looked the worst out of both guys. He's looked the worst, but he was fighting gigantic 6-foot-tall featherweights who were very good because Cub Swanson, he's been fighting at a high level for a long time. That's the reason we see him lose, you know, losing twice to Frankie Edgar. Jonathan Martinez is taller than Frankie Edgar, bigger than him, but he doesn't have Frankie Edgar's wrestling, which is also what helps his striking, you know. So I really like Cub Swanson in this fight. I shouldn't say I really like him where I'm going to bet my life on it, but I really like his odds, plus 165, and that's enticed me to bet on him. So that's my bet, Cub Swanson, 165. I wouldn't even really look to different prop bets for Cub's end. You know, maybe if something's extra juicy, either one of them getting a TKO, KO, I'd bet on that. But generally speaking, I think this is more likely to go to a decision. And I like Cub's odds. I think he's much more in this fight than his odds suggest. All right, I've said that about 7 times, and that's why this video is 8 minutes long. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, all that wonderful horse shit. And I'll talk to you guys soon.